You know that moment when you're speaking and you pause wondering, should I say could've, should've, or would've? Well, you are definitely not alone. Today we're going to crack a code that trips up pretty much everyone learning English. Those tricky little phrases we use to talk all about the past. So let's dive right in.
Okay, let's be honest. They look the same, they sound the same, and they can be just incredibly confusing. You've got could have, should have, would have, might have. The list just keeps going. But I promise you, by the end of this, you're going to see them not as some confusing mess, but as really powerful tools for expressing very specific things about the past.
So, what makes them so tricky in the first place? Well, let's start by looking at what they all have in common. Because believe it or not, that's actually the source of all the confusion. At a first glance, they all look like they're built the exact same way. It's like they follow a formula, right? You take a modal verb, you add have, and then you tack on the past participle of another verb. Words like gone, eaten, or finished. And because the structure is identical, our brain gets a little confused. They look the same, but their meanings totally different.
So, here's the big secret. To really get these, we have to stop thinking about them as just a list of verbs to memorize. Instead, we're going to group them by what the speaker is trying to do. What is their intention? Are they trying to express regret? Are they making a guess? Or are they just imagining a completely different past? That right there is the key that unlocks this whole puzzle. Let's kick things off with a feeling we've all felt. Regret. That feeling when we look back at something that happened and just wish it had gone a little differently. To really express that feeling, that wish that you could hit a rewind button and change something, English has a very specific tool in its toolbox. Let's see how it works. This slide lays out the two sides of regret just perfectly. On one side, you've got, I should have studied for the test. That's regret for something you didn't do, but now you wish you had. Then on the other side, I shouldn't have eaten so much junk food. That's regret for something you did do, and now you're paying the price. So it's pretty simple. Should have is for wishing you'd done something, and shouldn't have is for wishing you hadn't. Now you might also hear someone say ought to have. It means the exact same thing as should have, but it feels a little more formal, a little more serious. It's often used when we're talking about moral duties, like telling the truth. You won't hear it a ton in casual conversation, but it's definitely good to have on your radar. All right, let's move on to our next function. We're going to shift gears from feelings to logic. This is all about putting on your detective hat, looking at the clues you have right now to make a really good guess about what happened in the past. I want you to think about this one like a certainty scale. If you are almost 100% sure about something, you're going to use must have. For instance, if you see your friend is at home when he was supposed to be at the airport, you can say he must have missed his flight. It's a logical conclusion, right? But what if you're not so sure? That's where might have comes in. Your friend didn't call you on your birthday, so you think, she might have forgotten. It's a possibility, it's a guess, but you're not totally certain. Okay, on to our third and final function, and this one is all about imagination. This is where we get to talk about alternate realities, all those past possibilities that didn't actually happen, but, they could have. So, could have is all about an opportunity or an ability in the past that just wasn't used. For example, she could have won the match, but she didn't try hard enough. The potential to win was there, the ability existed, it just didn't happen. And notice the difference here. This isn't necessarily regret. It's more like just stating a fact about a possibility that's now gone. And that brings us to would have. Now, this one almost always shows up as part of a hypothetical situation.
usually with an if. Look at the formula here. Step 1 is the imaginary condition in the past, if she had your number, and step 2 is the imaginary result of that condition. She would have called you. See how that works? We're connecting an imaginary past action to an imaginary result.
Phew! Okay, we have covered a lot of ground, so let's pull it all together into one simple, super clear cheat sheet that you can use anytime. And here it is, your master key. Just forget that long, confusing list of verbs and remember these 3 core functions. When your intention is to show regret, wishing the past was different, you're going to use should have. When your intention is guessing, thinking about what happened, you'll use must have for strong guesses and might have for weaker ones. And when you're imagining other possibilities, you'll reach for could have to talk about lost opportunities and would have for hypothetical results. It really does all come down to your intention.
And before we wrap this up, I've got a quick bonus tip for you. This one is going to help you sound a lot more natural when you're speaking. So in everyday, relaxed, spoken English, we almost never say the full should have. We smush it together. Should have becomes should've, or even more casually, shoulda. I shoulda called. Could've becomes could've, or coulda. Now this is so common that you'll see people mistakenly write should've, but that is always wrong in writing. So remember, this is for speaking, not for spelling. So here's a final thought to take with you. Think about a decision you made yesterday. What should you have done? What might have happened if you had chosen something different? And what could you have done that you didn't? The past is full of these little puzzles, but the good news is now you have the tools to talk about them.